And then we try to become an important part of the ecosystem. We no longer believe we're the Silicon Valley in a bottle. We work with the entire ecosystem. We try to build good relationship with angels. We no longer try to invest as the first investor. We try to be the first institutional investor. So these angels can be all our friends. They make a $300,000 investment in a company, and the company grows to be 3 times more valuable, and we invest in the next round. So that helps make a win-win situation. We have an entrepreneur in residence program where if you want to start the company, you could potentially just sit with us, work with us, draw a salary until one day you want to start the company. Then you can either take our money or someone else's. We're actually very flexible and believe in the freedom of choice. We work with deal sourcers, and we also try to train a lot of young CEOs, that some of whom are not companies we invested in. As an example, we founded the Young CEO Club with Xu Xiaoping and Cai Wensheng. That's the 3 of us. And all 3 of us, plus our staffs, plus the companies we funded, in turn, train 40 students every 6 months. And these students are not guaranteed an investment from us, but we will give everything we can and help them grow. And then at the end of the session, if we can make some investments, which we have and Wensheng and Xiaoping also have. So we believe this will end up being a win-win for all. And we're trying to become more open source than before to try to really reach out. And in case you want to listen to some of these courses, we actually made, I think, 13 of them available online. If you go to my Weibo or Weixin 公众账号, you will see the content. Not an advertising. It's all open source, free training courses by top people that you can listen to. The next advantage, once we find great entrepreneurs and fund them, is we have what we think is a playbook for the Chinese internet. We believe you can look at the Chinese market and look for unique opportunities by trying things out. So you identify a big trend, and then you try to build small things and iterate. That's what the Lean Startup is all about. Once you find something that sticks, an idea that might work, then we have a model that helps you to build up momentum, and then find the right lever to create an eruption in the marketplace, and then maintain the strength. We see that the modern day companies often have this exponential step, and we specialize in helping each industry, each entrepreneur find this and find the lever. And this lever cannot be purely funded by money, because if you want to grow that fast, that soon, no VC will give you this much money. So very often it requires finding a lever that is very cost effective, perhaps even free. As an example, Xiaomi in their early days, basically used Weibo as their free promotional vehicle, and they managed their first big growth without spending any money. And that's the kind of lever that we would help companies to look for. And then once you create one step, then you look for the next one and the next one, and we continue to help expansion of these user communities. And once you're big enough, we help you create a moat around your ecosystem. So these are the steps that we've been there, done that, seen many, many industries. And when someone takes our investment, we help them go through that. Here's an example of a company called Yao Chufa. When you build up your company, it's very important not to think too broad. So Yao Chufa is a e-travel company, but they didn't think of themselves as wanting to become the number 5 or number 6 of the e-travel companies. They look for a very specific niche and become number 1. And that builds you the strength and then the foundation to go to the next step. So Yao Chufa picked a very special area 5 years ago. It was the weekend flash deal travel agency. It's a very specific industry, but it's very much helped by the fact more people own cars. This is an American tradition, right? Many Americans take the weekend off, drive somewhere, especially Labor Day and so on. The same thing we thought at the time could and should happen in China. So as more people own cars, they no longer have to fly to a very distant place and take a week for their vacation. They could drive by and stay for 2-3 hours and then stay in a great boutique hotel for 1 or 2 days, then go home. And no one was ready to lead that, so we helped them to become the #1 in this space. And the way you grow the business is you basically find a way for that to happen within one market, in their case, Guangzhou. And then they went to Hangzhou and so on, and then they repeated the process after that. It was important that they never think of themselves as challenging Ctrip or Qunar, because they're way, way, way too small. So we really helped them becoming #1 in that space, not #5 in the overall big space. And another advantage that we have is we try to provide a lot of service. Once we invest in a company, we're not done. We really want to help them with everything they need. Recruiting a team, building a prototype, and then testing and iterating the product and marketing it. And when they're ready, go raise the next round of funding. We also help them work with each other and help each other. For example, Baozhou was an example that has a lot of great content and IP. Zhancheng was a company that was very good at developing games, so we have them develop a game using the Baozhou characters. So those are the examples we help them. We organize monthly workshops, and also we have a founders boot camp where we have very specific goals to help the entrepreneurs. The goals are very, very simple. The Founders Boot Camp is where we take the companies we fund in the past 6 months, put them all in one room and said, okay, you just got your Series A funding from InnovationWorks. We're going to help you get to Series B. And then we would have intensive sessions that help them. And we would bring in Series B investors to help them pitch, and we help them get the funding. But also we help them become friends. There are offsites that we would have. There's an election to be a class president. People donate things, and then they get auctioned off. So actually, this is where people go wild a little bit. They actually raise 5 million RMB for their class fund. One of the things, for example, I donated 50 of my books. So I thought that was worth, maybe 1000块钱还是2000块钱. But actually, that went for 8万块. So I said, that's great. He says, no, Kai-Fu, we have a demand. For each of the 50 books, we're going to tell you what to write on them, and you have to write it. So I have yet to know what they want to write. Hopefully nothing too terrible. But these are very clever people who are donating resources and getting it auctioned off and using the money. For example, how are they spending the 5 million RMB they raised? I'm taking them to Silicon Valley in January. And we'll get to visit some of the top companies there and meet with great people to help them further grow. So we feel that today with Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent being so powerful, it's important that we create a new kind of brotherhood and camaraderie so these people help each other, because otherwise they're lonely fighting these giants, and that can be very, very difficult. And of course, in the case of, in addition to the Founders Bootcamp, we help them get the next round funding. And when we try to help them get funding, it's not just about when are you out of cash, let's raise some money 5 months before that. It's really about what are the milestones you must reach in order for the next round VCs to listen to you. It's also about market driven. For some companies, you see a competitor getting bought at a certain valuation, and you can use that to justify a higher multiple, and you should raise money and get it before the news becomes a history. So in the last 12 months, we helped the companies we invest in raise over $600 million, and that's been tremendous for them, for their war chest, because as the overall industry hits a winter, these companies that we invest in have a good war chest. So how much are the portfolio we invest in worth? Well, there are some companies over 30, 100, 300, or $2 billion. Probably the most valuable company we invested in is Meitu, that probably many of you use. And it's worth actually more than that, but this is the last round valuation. And in terms of the other companies, Moji Tianqi, Qingting FM, Yao Chufa, Wandojia, Zhihu are some of the companies that you probably also use. And also a lot of companies under 100. I won't enumerate these, but you can see that every year we try to help our company get to the next level. So in 2014, we had this many companies at these tiers, and then in 2015, the number went up significantly. So that's the job that we continue to try to do. And also we're a venture capitalist with both US and also renminbi, because renminbi and US are not freely exchanged, and there are some rules in internet companies that you cannot go public if you cannot get an internet content license, ICP license, unless you're a purely local company or a company that has a VIE structure. So anyway, it's very complex rules. That means an entrepreneur needs to decide if they want the US dollars and go public in the US, or renminbi and go public locally. And basically we think it's all about, in the US, the analysts are more sophisticated and more suitable for kind of winner-take-all kind of big market disruptive opportunities. Renminbi is more focused on if you make money in the next few years, and how much profit and how much PE ratio, more sort of the traditional look. So the companies that come in, we have both currency alternatives for them. So in terms of how much value we can create, these are the types of multiples that we create for our people who invest in InnovationWorks. If they invested 5 years ago, they made 6 times the money. They invested maybe 2-3 years ago, they made about 3 times. They invested last year, they make about 1.8 times. And this is all net of all of our fees. So this is quite attractive to people. And we're creating value not just to the entrepreneurs, but also returning good multiples for people who invest in us. Of course, for us to be successful, we have to be smart in managing our money. So actually, this is how much money we deploy per quarter. But for example, about 4 quarters ago, we actually slowed down our investment pace because we saw the market was too high, and we thought this was the time to help our companies raise more money and less so for us to invest in more companies. So this type of discipline is very important. So in conclusion, we are very, very bullish about the tech market in China. The overall market is hard to tell, but we're very bullish about the tech market in China. We believe the rapid changes in the Chinese economy and the opportunities that arise will help us create a lot of value for our entrepreneurs and our investors. But while our model continues to evolve, we believe our strength will continue to be our pro-entrepreneur spirit and our desire to be the best in the early stage investor in China. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Li, for